Hello everyone and welcome to the third round of the Continental Circus number 2. The second iteration of the Continental Circus, of course, this time in Le Mans Ultimate. And we are racing, as you can probably already tell in the background, on Fuji today. This is the East Asian round. Yeah, the East Asian round. We are racing at Fuji today. Our drivers will have 1 hour to go around Fuji as often as they can. And in the end, the winner will be the person in both the hypercar class and the GT3 class who goes around the furthest, basically, around for 1 hour. This is how racing works. And yeah, now everyone is up to date. My name is Julian Strasser, of course, but I'm not here alone. With me today in the commentary booth, as the last 2 rounds, is Sebastiano Rossi. How are you doing?
Hello, Julian. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm doing pretty well myself. Thank you. Hopefully everyone in the chat is doing well as well, as I'm kind of excited for today's race, because I don't really have a lot of occasions to see and or race around Fuji. So, it is going to be a good one, especially because, Fuji is a great track for track battles, because, of course, there is Suzuka in Japan, which is as a driving experience, I feel like would be superior than Fuji. However, when it comes to racing, I feel like that Fuji is really outclasses Suzuka by quite a lot. Like, you have this massive straight here, the start-finish straight, that you are seeing this BMW M Hybrid V8, I think driven by G-Fox Foxington. And taking this slipstream here, drafting your opponent, defending, that is going to be very good. Then you have a lot of overtaking opportunities. Then the third sector, even though it kind of breaks the flow of the circuit, it does allow you to stay close to the cars ahead. And, it creates some close action, so I'm very excited for today's race here at Fuji.
Yeah, absolutely. Today's race at Fuji, Fuji is generally a circuit that, unfortunately, we don't often get to see here in European motorsport. It is often, of course, used in Asian, especially Japanese motorsport series, and I think it is severely underutilized in international racing. Of course, WEC being one of the major destinations for it, internationally speaking. But I think it has definitely some potential to host more races. As we're already halfway almost through the qualifying session, I have to say at this point, very sorry for the slight delay that we have in the stream today. Unfortunately, some things happen. Luckily, we're here before the start of the race, and we can already see that it's looking like Ichon de Jong is going to continue the qualifying dominance.
Yeah, Ichon de Jong is really cooking during this championship. We also had Edwin Law also going pretty strong. Patrick Silvasi, Tina Curtis, Cosmo Marsh, G-Fox Foxington in P6. That is actually kind of surprising, not going to lie. We usually saw the German driver in the lower portion of the hypercar field. I mean, to be fair, only 8 of them set a lap time, but
Yeah, there are a
better
bunch
to
of
set it up.
yeah, there are a bunch of drivers who are not participating today, who we saw last time around were very strong. A very strong driver who is not at the top of the grid because they're on the top of their class, the slower class today, is Alex Curter, who is just finishing their lap to improve on the time.
Oh, that is good. That is actually very good. I mean, after all, this is Alex Curto. I mean, what were we expecting? This guy is so fucking quick, I swear. Like, Alex Curto, Tom Mileto, we also have Julian Messner, and Omet Home. Like, those 4 drivers, they're actually kinda cracked, not going to lie. They are so quick. And also there is Adriel Bonfirm as well, which is not too far behind them, but
I mean,
Are they close enough to compete for the win? That might be track limits.
Adrian
Maybe not.
Bonfin usually is a very good midfield driver, sometimes with opportunities for higher finishes. Here in the middle sector, just being a 10th quicker than everyone else in the GT3s right now, it really shows that Adrian Bonfin does have some pace to their name. And look at this, catching up to Julian Metzner here. Last sector also very good. It's just the first sector now that is lagging behind the rest of the top GT3 drivers a tiny bit. We'll have to see what the other drivers are doing there. Alex Curto looks improving the first sector, for example, but being slower than Adrian Bonfin now in the second sector.
I mean, to be fair, Bonfin was actually pretty fast in the second sector. Also, I need to add this for clarity to Adrian Bonfin in case they're listening to us. I need to apologize to you. I was not familiar with your game. Like, they actually started cooking in that lap, and that was great. Also, Alex Curto is still cooking with a lead of 7/10 from Tommy Leto in P2. I mean, these drivers, I think they're kind of having fun and driving fast. And yeah, that is so. You know, a driver that has fun is always going to be faster. So that is very good. That is genuinely impressive as well.
It is very good, and it's amazing to see these drivers improving lap by lap, race by race as well, getting closer each and every time. Gary Slater not able to improve here, but is on a good path at the moment. So switching back over to the hypercar class, we have a few drivers currently on fast lap. Patrick Salvasi, for example, with a good last sector. This could be an improvement in time, maybe even an improvement in position ahead of Edwin Law, but that would have to be a purple third sector for that.
Yeah, I mean, after the first sector is like 3.5 tenths behind, you really need to push a lot in the last sector in order to make up all that lost time. I mean, if you can do it, all the best for you, but that is a lot of time to have to regain, as we are going to see. P3, that seems to be an improvement, I think.
It was not an improvement, but it was very close to one. Very consistent drive so far by Patrick Salvasi. Itrin de Jong also just finished the lap, did not improve. Edwin Law also on the finishing stretch right now, but currently not looking like an improvement. Let's see what the last sector says at least. Oh.
Yeah, that delta is not looking that good. I mean, they're also practicing. That might also be the outlap on cold tires. So, you know, never be too harsh on. Yeah, you should never be too harsh on those drivers. You don't know if they're on the outlap or not. Also, that is an interesting sight. A Lamborghini SC63.
It is nice to see a Lamborghini, and it's also nice to see Cosmo Marsh being on a better pace standing than last week around. Of course, they switched from the Van Wall to the Lamborghini. So yeah, it is, objectively speaking, a better car, but it's also nice to see. It seems like Cosmo Marsh has found a more comfortable setting with this car and is lapping quite a lot more comfortably, as it seems.
Yeah, to be fair, it is kind of a shame that we are not going to see that Lamborghini in real life probably for much longer. Maybe they will be back, probably not. But still, it is sad, as we are also, however, seeing Itron de Jong potentially improving. Let's see how this last sector is going to be. This is going to be a one. Yeah, that's an improvement, I think. Yeah.
It is an improvement. I mean, look at that last sector, almost 3 tenths quicker than previously. And this is really putting the pressure on Edwin Law, who had improved in the first sector previously, but the middle sector was not on pace. Let's take a look. It's not even a lap improvement here.
Oh, no, that middle sector really, that really hindered them. A lot of drivers. Okay. We just saw a Lamborghini SC63 shapeshift into a BMW M4, which is interesting, I guess. As we are now seeing Julian Messner finishing their lap time. Looks like it is going to be their outlap, because, well, not quite their out lap, but maybe their first time lap. Maybe you still have cold tires. After all, you see that first sector 1.1 seconds behind, 6 tenths in the middle sector. I feel like this is more of a warm-up lap, trying to warm up those tires, and then Julian Messner is going to start cooking from this lap onwards. And yeah, that was a 144. I'm 100% expecting that to be just a lap for warming up the tires. Now we have Pavlik, Pulnikas Pavlik. That's not an improvement, I think, but nonetheless, the Porsche driver is showing us that they're still active in this qualifying, as Zero Alexander is doing that as well. Rigor Mortis also in the Iron Days Porsche with oh, they're actually kind of tight on those yeah, there. But yeah, let's see also Adrian Bonfem, no improvement here either. A lot of time lost in pretty much all sector by all drivers. So yeah, there is a lot of drivers on cold tires, but there is only 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. So if you need to set a lap time, it's either this lap or nothing.
Exactly. Another Lamborghini here, Daniel Castellana. We know him from ACC racing mostly. Now also here on the LMU grind, it seems. Currently not living up to, I would say, the potential that would have been expected. 1.8 seconds down on Alex Curto. They would usually fight with one another in ACC, but maybe this is just a bit of an unknown environment for Castellana at the moment. However, it'll be interesting to see to what pace he can get up to quite quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, Castellana will have to do that very, very quickly, because there are only 30 seconds on the clock, so it's either this lap or nothing. But that first sector, that was quite slow. Ethan Young looking to improve yet again. Wow, that is absolute domination. Oh, never mind.
Last sector was just not enough.
Yeah, however, they still have enough time to improve. Let's see, G-Fox Foxington quite far from P1. Yeah, did they improve? I'm not too sure.
No, also the last sector. Not. Also the last sector, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that was a bit of a slide from G-Fox. But yeah, in general, it looks like G-Fox lost time in those sectors. Adriel Bonferm tried to I think they improved a little bit. Now let's see also Daniel Castellana. They gained something back in the middle sector. Let's see now how they took the last sector. But I mean, there is still a pretty big gap from Alex Curto. So I'm not too sure Daniel Castellana is going to be able to actually get into podium positions, but that's an improvement from P7 to P6.
Yeah, right between
so,
Gary.
Yeah, good job on Castellana.
Yeah, right up to pace with Gary Slater now, which is also definitely not a weak showing. And it's going to be interesting to see how he can develop during the race, because I know it from myself, for example, that during the race I sometimes only start getting the pace to run with the front. Ethan de Jong here, however, definitely not waiting until the race, looking like a very good middle sector. What is the last sector going to say, though? Is it going to be an improvement? It is not, actually. Oh, that might be an invalid lap time, because, yeah, we'll have to... but it doesn't matter really much. He's half a second up on Edwin Law right now. Let's take a look at G-Fox Foxington. Yeah, that is also not an improvement. There are seemingly... There's Luna Lupus still on track, looking for a better lap time. Let's take a look from 149.855 to 149.1. There is a 7/10 improvement, putting them up to pace with... I got the pronunciation, but I forgot it again. I have to take a look really quick through my notes.
Okay, take it easy. Take it easy. Oh. It's kind of funny, especially because neither of us speak Gaelic. So yeah, this is actually a bit quirky, a bit tricky.
Yeah, and I was told it was not supposed to be a Gaelic name; it just happened to be one.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
It's pronounced Kean.
Okay.
Kian Fry.
No.
So now we know.
Okay. So instead of French fry, it's a king fry. Gotcha.
Key in, like you put the key in the door, and yeah, that's basically it. So we have the starting order now, and the starting order is going to be. We have on the front in row 1 Ethan de Jong, followed by Edwin Law. On row 2, we then have, of course, Patrick Salvasi and Tina Curtis. The first Cadillac on the grid. That is beautiful to see. Row 3 is Cosmo Marsh and G-Fox Foxington, the Lambo and the BMW. And row 4, we have Sasha Dechkov and Tim Berggren. And we have one more hypercar row of drivers, which is going to be Mr. Infinity and Rayan Chacha.
Now on to the GT3s. We have Alex Curto and Omet on for row 6 overall. Then row 7 overall, we have Tommy Leto and Julian Messner. This top 4 is going to show us some good fireworks today. Row 8, we have Adriel Bonfem and Gary Slater. These two guys are also going to fight quite a lot. I'm expecting Daniel Castellana, surprisingly, kinda low on the grid, and Liam Brownie. Then row 10, we have Jean Sepa and Terry Lowe, the two BMWs. And then in row 11, we have Rigor Mortis and Paul Niklas Pavlik, the two long Porsche GT3s. Behind them, we have Zir Alexander and Kian Fry, yeah, my bad. Last but not least, Luna Leopold closing the grid in row 13. So yeah, 25 drivers here on the grid. This is going to be pretty good.
It is absolutely going to be an interesting race. We are going to see it start in just a few seconds when the drivers get across the starting line.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a pretty interesting start of the race. I mean, we were only start, Fuji straight, and there we go, it's green, green, green. Let's see now how these drivers will handle turn 1, because let's remember, this is a tight hairpin, so you need to play it a little bit safe. Let's see, they're now into the braking zone, heading into T1. It looks like it is clean, very clean, all very clean, as there is now a battle for P2. That was G-Fox Foxington going wide, and in the GT3s, also, they're surprisingly clean. I think I saw a Mustang going a bit off the track behind, but the fight in the GT3s is now honest. That is a Lexus of Gary Slater, I think, on Bonfem. Yeah, maybe. Actually, is it? No, that's not Bonfem. That is Daniel Castellana. My bad. Daniel Castellana being overtaken by I forgot. Gary Slater.
Gary Slater, yes. Linian Brown is right behind that, looking also to get past, but I don't think Daniel Castellana will want to let her. There are also another few battles. We have Omets Om, who sneaked past, basically. We did not really see them qualify. But right now looking very good already in P2, right behind Alex Curto. Right behind that, of course, we have Julian Metzner and Tommy Leto, who has lost a bunch of positions from when we last saw him on the qualifying grid.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, here in the race, Tommy Leto only lost one position, the one with Julian Metzner, but nonetheless, that was a decent first lap from the Finnish driver. They were able to control the damage and limit the damage, as we're now seeing the hypercars, G-Fox Foxington behind Cosmo Marsh. Surprised about the performance, well, lack of performance of the two Valkyries. I kind of expected those two cars to do better, as we've seen the Valkyries being able to actually put some pretty good pace in the past races, as we are now seeing an old BMW battle between Terry Lowe and Jens Sepa. Sepa going very wide, and also that Porsche behind, that Iron Wings Porsche, also going a little bit wide. However, Sepa will need to remain close to Terry Lowe if they want to try and get that position back, as we are now seeing Gary Slater and Adriel Bonfem still in a battle. However, they're not still in a battle, I need to correct myself, because they the car, the Iron Days Lamborghini that years later was in a battle with, was the car behind, driven by Daniel Castellana.
Yeah, there's a bunch of battles going on track right now. A bunch of battles that we have to switch between. This G-Fox Foxing coming to the inside of Cosmo Marsh there, but not enough space for G-Fox to get all the power onto the street. Maybe now, as we come onto the start-finish straight, that's very close between the two, and there's a yellow flag somewhere on the circuit. But G-Fox Foxington is now in the slipstream, looking to go past, perhaps. Oh, but very defensive line there by Cosmo Marsh. And this battle will go to T1. Will G-Fox Foxington have any overspeed? Better line, definitely. Oh, that was a bit unsettled there by Cosmo Marsh. Going very wide now, losing power and losing the position as well. And we do have Luna Lupo already, unfortunately, DNF'd. That must have been one of the yellow flags that we saw earlier. Very unfortunate. However, we still have the battle here. Cosmo Marsh in close pursuit. Whoa, all getting very close there to the German driver in the BMW. There's even some flashing coming. This is a battle that is really shaping up to become a massive one. Another one is Edwin Law here on the back of Patrick Salvasi. We're in the last sector now, of course. A divisive sector. Because of that chicane that we just went through, there are quite a lot of people who prefer driving this without the chicane. We're going for the official WEC layout here, and the battle between Edwin Law and Patrick Salvasi has led us through that. Coming onto the start-finish straight, the two, it doesn't look like they're really close enough to one another for Edwin Law to get any advantage out of the slipstream between the two. Neither does the battle between G-Fox Foxington and Cosmo Marsh at the second, interestingly. However, maybe the battle between Julian Metzler and Tommy Lato shapes up better. Oh, very close line to the inside there by Tommy Lato, the Finnish driver. Cool as a cucumber right now, as I guess the Finns tend to be. And looking to close up to Julian Metzler, last corner here. That is rather close, but will it be close enough to get out of the slipstream at the end or during the middle of the straight?
I mean, probably. Tommy Lato will get quite a long slipstream, like after all this pretty long straight. Maybe not close enough to actually attempt to overtake there, but surely enough to get closer and closer and closer, as these two are actually still duking it out, as Cosmo Marsh is side by side with G-Fox Foxington, and we saw that these two drivers will not leave any stone unturned, as we are now seeing Cosmo Marsh diving for the hairpin. However, G-Fox is still side by side. Yeah, those two drivers are really giving us a pretty good spectacle, as now G-Fox Foxington will have the outside, Cosmo Marsh the inside. However, G-Fox is not giving up, as I think Cosmo Marsh accompanied G-Fox around the outside. Those, I've never seen two cars going side by side throughout the entirety of the last sector. Now, I mean, that's what I said before. Maybe this has been disrupted, but racing has not been disrupted with the last sector, as they're still going side by side. I think that Lamborghini has a bit of an edge when it comes to straight line speed, but the BMW is not giving up. Let's also remember that Cosmo Marsh does have a bit of a flat spot on their front left, I think, as they're now heading into the braking zone. Cosmo Marsh will have a compromised line. Ooh, that was a nasty entry from Cosmo Marsh, as G-Fox Foxington says, well, thank you very much, I will take this position, as Cosmo Marsh left the door open. Also, Edwin Law and Patrick Silvasi on the Toyotas, on the Toyota ground. They're still duking it out here, as they're approaching now the last sector in that and we might see maybe something in that hairpin. No, I think that Edwin Law is a bit too far behind to actually attempt something, but still pretty close to actually oh wow, to still actually give us some emotions here, because we want to keep it, we want to see it kept clean. And you know, there is always that little bit of a scare that something might go wrong, as we are now seeing Cosmo Marsh in P8 behind Sasha Dekob. So something must have happened for the Lamborghini driver to actually not only lose the gap to the BMW driver of G-Fox Foxington, but also losing the position on yet another car, in that case an Aston Martin, as we're now seeing Edwin Lowe right behind Patrick Silvasi, showing their nose on the inside, going side by side here for turn 1. Patrick Silvasi is going to try and defend it around the inside. Edwin Lowe will have the line. However, when it comes to turn 3, Edwin Lowe will not have the line. However, Patrick Silvasi was not able to stay side by side, as they're now lapping a Ford Mustang right behind. And it is still close. It is still very close. We might now see at the exit of 200, or maybe not. No, Edwin Lowe has secured the position for the time being, as Patrick Silvasi will have to fight in order to get it back.
This is an amazing battle we're seeing here as well, on a very high level. Both of these are, however, both of the battling is really enabling each and de Jong to get away from the rest of the grid. Now 7 seconds ahead of these two actually already. So, I mean, if they want to have any chance at catching de Jong, they would have to help each other out here, as Cosmo Marsh is now in the pits. It seems like there has to be some repair done with the car. That was potentially something that we saw during the battle with G-Fox Foxington. Not saying that there was any contact between the two necessarily. That will have to be something looked at afterwards. Another battle going on here right now. We have Tim Berggren, who has now caught up to G-Fox Foxington. And the Van Vol, I want to say the Aston Martin Valkyrie, of course, is getting fighting now. One of them, at least.
Yeah, I am expecting Tim Berggren to actually be able to use this leap. Maybe not. Is Tim Berggren actually close enough to take this slipstream, as there is now a lot of fight between these two Porsches, with the Lamborghini trying to get by. However, that is multi-class. You really need to get good at lapping slower traffic, as the Lamborghini was boxed behind those two Porsches. Oh, that's a spin. That is a spin from the Lamborghini. LMDH from Cosmo Marsh, and yeah, they're going to lose a lot of positions from this, as I think that is Tina Curtis. Yeah, that is Tina Curtis on the Cadillac. So Cosmo Marsh lost a lot of positions.
Yeah, Cosmo Marsh, actually, due to having been in the pits earlier, is now even behind much of the GT3 grid when it comes to on-track position. Standings position even. So yeah, this is going to be no longer a battle for Cosmo Marsh for higher positions, other than if other cars happen to DNF, which of course we don't wish on anyone. However, there's always the possibility that might happen. Tim Berggren, however, now let's see how well they can take the last sector. Usually, because it is a non-hybrid, the Valkyrie, I would imagine it to do better at straight line top speed, but even then, very well done keeping up to the BMW off G-Fox Foxington there during the last sector. But it looks like the acceleration onto the straight is where the Valkyrie might struggle a little bit, because it's just G-Fox driving away here on the straight right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tim Berggren is, with that Valkyrie, is kind of close. However, you see here in turn 1, it seems like the Aston Martin driver actually lost some ground here in T1, as there is a yellow flag somewhere on the track. However, when it comes to faster corners like turn 3, the Coca-Cola corner, if I go correctly, and here also 200R, you see Tim Berggren actually catching up quite a lot, as we are now heading into turn 5. I mean, yeah, Tim Berggren can do something very funny here at the hairpin. If they get the run, and if they actually want to send it, they can actually transcend, and not close enough to do that, maybe. Oh, never mind. They got very close to do it, as G-Fox Foxington had to take evasive action, as these two are now heading into Sector 3 and giving us quite a lot of emotions again. So, wow, that is good action here at Fuji.
Absolutely, this is good action. I mean, Fuji is a very technical track, especially the third sector in which we currently are at. Very technical, very dependent on the driver's skills, and it looks like There has been a slight error here by Tim Berggren going through the third sector. Easily done in such a technical section. However, you can already see over 1 second now behind G-Fox. That always hampers any at advancing. And G-Fox is now ahead of both of these GT3s easily. But Tim Berggren has to still overtake the top the front of these two Porsche, which was, of course, Public, who is right in front of Rigor Mortis as the two starting to battle now.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I feel like they never truly stopped battling. We saw before Cosmo Marsh was boxed behind the two. These two drivers are still duking it out here on the track. Maybe the fight has quieted down a little bit as there is a little bit of a gap between the two. I don't think it truly stopped, as we are now seeing the gap being 3 tenths, as also gap being 3 tenths here between Edwin Lu and Patrick Silvasi, as they will have to contend with lower traffic. I think that is Dominator, which is going to break the battle a little bit. So Patrick Silvasi, well, my bad, Edwin Lu can actually take a little bit of a breather from this battle and maybe try and cool their mind down and see what they can do to actually keep.
You say that, but he actually had a worse line on exit out of the straight. If the straight were a bit longer, then Patrick Silvasi would have had the opportunity to go for the inside overtake here. So it's there was a nice line there by Patrick Silvasi taken through the last corner, as I saw, trying to go for a later apex than usual, and therefore a higher top speed potential, which is something that Toyota generally needs. However, since these two are both Toyota drivers, it's not making that much of a difference between that, but any bit of top speed can help. Unfortunately, in this situation, for Patrick Silvasi, it was not enough. And as they're coming up to the next back marker here, well, back marker, lower class driver, GT3 class driver, and coming into the last sector now through this chicane. As we said, very technical sector, and we know that both of these drivers are very, well, they are very experienced and they have quite a lot of skill. So there's going to be very little between them here in the third sector. Mostly it's going to be as to who makes the mistake here or not. But we'll have to see whether Patrick Silvasi or Edwin Law would make one. Doesn't seem like there was anyone. And now it's just 5 tenths between the two. And not very much time to catch up until the end of the straight.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen people catching up. As speaking of that, Tim Berggren was able to overtake G-Fox Foxington here in the third sector. Probably helped by that left BMW and 4 behind, as G-Fox is taking a wider line, which will give them a better exit. As, yeah, look at that. That was such a much faster exit from the BMW driver. That Valkyrie will kind of struggle a little bit. Kind of. Looks like the Valkyrie does have a little bit of an edge when it comes to top speed, as despite the great exit, G-Fox is still side by side, was not able to smoke the Valkyrie despite the better exit on the straight. They got the line though, so G-Fox Foxington was able to secure P5 for now. However, the Valkyrie is still pretty close behind of Tim Berggren, and so we will see a mistake from the BMW driver, door banging there as we're heading into 200R. So let's see now in turn 5 what is going to happen. Good defensive driver from G-Fox Foxington, as these two drivers are still duking it out, going into the last section of the second sector, and they will be heading into the first corner of the last sector here, this tight hairpin. There is some flashing action, but Tim Berggren is sending it on the inside of G-Fox Foxington, which needs to take evading action, but Tim Berggren was able to get the position with a bit of a dive bomb, but that was very clean. And so, yeah, there is going to be a Corvette maybe throwing a wrench into their battle. No, it did not. The Corvette went on the side and let them by, as G-Fox Foxington is still close by to Tim Berggren. I mean, this battle has been going on for quite a long time. However, with a wider line from G-Fox Foxington, is that going to be enough to get a better exit? Yes, the exit is better, but is that going to be enough actually overtake the Valkyrie. We saw that the Aston Martin is a monster on the straight. GeForce Foxington in this slipstream is gaining, but not as much as I would expect. It is little by little, it is gaining little by little, but it's not quite enough, as Tim Berggren was able to secure the position. However, they got a worse line in the entry for turn 1, as we are now heading towards turn 3 with another lapped car. That is the Lexus of I forgot, as it is throwing a wrench in the battle, getting in the middle of the two hypercars, as GeForce Foxington will have a bit of a compromise line into 200R. Yeah, Gary Slater, thank you, Julian. But yeah, these two guys in the hypercar, they are duking it out for P5. They will keep on fighting for quite a long time. Also, I would like to take the time for a little public server announcement. There has been potentially PayPal might have been potentially hacked, so if you have a PayPal account, change your passwords, please. As we are now going back to the race with GeForce Foxington still close to Tim Berggren. Yeah, that GT car of Gary Slater did throw a wrench in their battle, but only for a slight amount, as they're catching up on Tommy Leto. What about their lines through here? We saw a very wide line from GeForce Foxington as Tim Berggren had to lap Tommy Leto and had to take a tight line, but we're seeing now GeForce Foxington with a much stronger exit going here on the straight. What will the German driver on the BMW do?
We'll have to see that. It doesn't look like there will be any chance here on the start-finish straight to go for a move. Maybe a very late dive, but no. Very middle of the line defending here by Tim Berggren. A-class move. I would rank that S tier, actually. Very wonderful defending by Tim Berggren. Also, personally, I very much like the middle of the road defense. And it is very useful, especially if you have a slower class car on the outside. And he just used it to his best advantage here. What I saw earlier, I mean, both of these moves that we saw on GeForce Foxington, I think there is only one motto that Tim Berggren lives by today, which is if gap car.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
We have seen that twice now today, and it is always wonderful to see someone just having fun, going for moves that where others might not. It will be infuriating for the one receiving a move, as actually they're already getting close together once again. But yeah, they're just having fun today, it seems, and that's beautiful to see.
Yeah, as GeForce Foxington is still close with, again, a better acceleration out of the corners. I think that BMW does have a can put the power down a little bit better, but it seems like that the Valkyrie. Oh, there is Rigor Mortis in the wall. That Porsche has seen better days, but yeah, we see GeForce Foxington diving down the inside of Tim Berggren, but Tim Berggren will have the line on the exit to be able to take the position, but GeForce Foxington is still there. So Tim Berggren will
side by side.
have to fight. Ooh, but yeah, good dive on around the outside from Tim Berggren, as GeForce Foxington was not quite aggressive enough to go around the inside. So, ooh.
Meanwhile, Gary Slater and Daniel Castellana are fighting. There was an overtake attempt here, successfully defended by Gary Slater. It's always dangerous if you try to go for an overtake here. You take the inside line, and then you of course have a worse line through the corner and at the exit. That is something that Gary Slater really used to his advantage here. Not letting by Daniel Castellana after all. Castellana really struggling to get past Gary Slater here. It seems that he might have the better pace. However, the Scottish Minister of Defence today seems to be in office. Gary Slater doing a wonderful job.
Wait a second, isn't that Jordan Branch's title?
Well, yes, but he is not here today.
Titles now. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Jordan, if you're listening to us, you really need to get your title back, because Gary Slater is showing us that right now they are deserving of it. So you will have competition, Jordan, as we are now heading towards the last corner, as the fight between... No, wait, no, there is not the fight between...
Now, Tim Berggren seems to have lost it at some point. They are now the last of the still running hypercars. As we also see, Cosmo Marsh has retired the car. So, yeah, something happened to Tim Berggren earlier, which means G-Fox Foxington is now uncontended P5 at the moment.
Yeah. G-Fox Foxington, despite the battle earlier, that... I mean, the car must not have, like, flat spots or any damage of sorts, as these two guys... Ooh, they're pretty close, as Daniel Castellana could maybe try and dive it around inside here. No, Daniel Castellana decides to keep it clear, keep it clean for this corner, and then try and maybe attempt a dive here at turn 5.
Oh
maybe,
yeah, this next left-hander is a good opportunity. But Gary Slater, defensive line there. Yeah, there's not so many corners where you can very easily go for an overtake around here. Many high-speed corners which don't have the braking really necessary needed for a well-done executed overtake. This next right-hander though, or Daniel Castellana at least tries to show himself in the mirror. Not possible to move past Gary Slater. I mean, this is a very sort of one-line corner. It was surprising earlier when we saw the battle. Daniel Castellana, however, seeming to have the upper hand when it comes to pace through here, wanting to get past, and there's a Toyota right behind them. That is the leader, actually, Ichon de Jong. He has a bit of time, so it wouldn't matter too much to him if he gets caught up, but easily overtakes both of these battling, quarreling GT3s, you might say, which are now side by side on the start-finish straight. Daniel Castellana moving a bit away, not entering the pits. Yeah, no, not at this point. It is not necessary, as we've seen last week around. Last week, only 2 drivers did do their pit stops. Incidentally, P1 and P2 right now, but before that, we have still this battle, and Daniel Castellana is still on the inside now. It looks to gain the position now. Yeah, this is pretty uncontested by Gary Slater. Well done on the braking this time, not braking too late, and staying in the white lines. In the meantime, we have Edwin Law and Patrick Silvasi still battling it out. Coming up to this battle, actually, between Gary Slater and Daniel Castellana. But Gary Slater does not want to lose anything, but it looks like Patrick Silvasi going around the outside and not actually losing much time to Edwin Law there. That is amazing showing. I did not think that would be possible. Patrick Silvasi actually gaining even more time as we come to the end of this Sector 2, starting the Sector 3 right about now. The technical sector has begun. Patrick Silvasi is as close as ever. Maybe he can catch up to Edwin Law just a tiny bit here, get a better run, as we saw. That was
who was that Valkyrie?
That was Tim Berggren losing it once again. Unfortunate for the Valkyrie driver here from Sweden, if I recall correctly. Patrick Silvasi, however, also losing a bunch of time through the last sector, by having a better exit now, and is in the slipstream, just slightly better on gaining the top speed, but I don't think this will be enough to go for any move.
Yeah, I don't think Edwin is close enough to actually send it, but they're going to disrupt this GT3 battle between, I think, Julian Messner and Adrian Bonfim, which was able to slot into P3. And yeah, Julian Messner had to go outside of the track to actually avoid these two guys, as yeah, these two hypercars are breaking up a lot of battles in the P3 in GT3s. So I don't think our GT drivers are going to be happy, but those cars need to get by somehow, and they did it cleanly. So all the best to them. It is now up to the GT drivers to actually close down the gap, as these two guys are still battling. Maybe we might see Patrick Silvasi diving here, but they were kind of conservative with their dive bombing attempts, so I don't think that will happen.
No, not now, not at this moment. It was not close enough between the two, and it is going to be interesting to see when a move is going to happen. Because we don't know at the moment. Is Patrick Silvasi driving at the limits keeping up with Edwin Law, or is there some more potential in the car? Because they also have to do a bit of fuel saving from what I found, and with that it is then possible to extend the stint for the entire hour.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a strategy battle between the two as well, whether they're going to pit or do that. But we'll have to see. Edwin Law is still looking pretty safe here in front of Patrick Salvasi. However, he cannot just let off the acceleration as we see here. We have another battle right now. Tommy Later actually getting overtaken by Adriel Bonfin. And it looks to be Adriel Bonfin gaining the pace here in the race session. Something that I thought we would see of Daniel Castellana, who is quite a lot behind this battle right now. Was able to overtake Gary Slater, of course, earlier. But Adriel Bonfin now actually able to advance in the ranks, now up to P3 in class.
Yeah, I mean, good showing by Adriel Bonfin. I did not expect them to actually be able to compete here for P3. Well, to be fair, yeah, I was kind of wrong, because in qualifying, their pace, while setting the 5th fastest time, their pace was actually still quite strong. So I don't think it is a surprise that we're able to see them fighting for P3 here, and actually being ahead of drivers like Tommy Leto and Julian Messner here.
And everyone is flashing. Tommy Later is flashing. Julian Metzner is flashing. Everyone wants to get by. Everyone wants to get a better position. There's another battle going on. However, it looks like Patrick Salvasi has now finally got the opportunity side by side with Edwin Law. Both are going to the very outside. Edwin Law very early on the brakes seems to let Patrick Salvasi past here.
Yeah, I mean,
it's perhaps a bit of a fuel-saving strategy by Edwin Law, trying to lift and coast in the slipstream now of Patrick Salvasi.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe Edwin Law was like, if I battle, I'm going to waste fuel, so let's just not do that. Let's just keep it simple. Don't do anything stupid. And so, yeah, good for both drivers for keeping it clean, but also I think they're doing. Well, I think that the strategy of Edwin Law is could be different for Silvasis. No, we don't know for certain, but nonetheless, we could see that this
it would make sense.
Low strategy did not account for battling on track and maybe wasting fuel. So good to see. Good to see. Where the players are now revealing their cards.
And Julian Metzner was able to overtake Tommy Later now as well. It looks like Tommy Later is in the reverse gear right now, losing 2 positions rather closely to one another. We'll have to see whether he gets another opportunity to overtake back into P4, which has been snatched away by Julian Metzner, of course. Adriel Bonfin, however, seems to be the cork in the bottle right now, maybe being able earlier to capitalize on a mistake by Tommy Later, and now, well, has to defend from Julian Metzner, who wants to get back on the podium.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy Later will also probably want to get back on the podium, so this battle for P3 is going to be quite feisty. I'm expecting that in the future, unless something happens, but you know, hopefully nothing bad happens and we will just see a great battle here. As they are now heading towards turn 1, what will happen? I think they're a bit too far between each other to actually attempt a move, but nonetheless, oh, never mind. Bonfim was a bit late, and there is contact with, I think, between Julian Messner and Bonfim. Tommy Later will be able to capitalize on that and catch up to Julian Messner a little bit with that little bump, probably slowing down a little bit. But damn, that is a good battle. That is really, really nice.
It's absolutely amazing, and it looks like Adriel Bonfin is getting caught up again and again by Julian Metzner. Not going for a move right here, but goes for the better line, better exit, potentially for a move now into the next right hand. Oh, he's stuck on the left side though. Has to draw back a bit in order to not be stuck on the left of Adriel Bonfin, which gives the opportunity to Tommy Later to unsettle Julian Metzner around the outside. As there's a The back marker of what? Who is that? That's the 31. That's the 31 car BMW. I think there was Lau. There was Terry Lau here who had a bit of an issue, and which practically broke up this battle here. Julian Metzner got the better of it by far. 1.2 seconds ahead of Tommy Leto, and Adriel Bonfeur losing out horribly. Now 4 seconds behind P3 of Julian Metzner. Has to catch up all over again.
Yeah, that is awful news for Adriel Bonfeur. I'm genuinely gutted for them. They were able to go from P5 to P3, they were able to actually fight it really well, and then this issue that happened to them, I don't know how to describe it otherwise. Misunderstanding with the lap driver, I guess you could say. But man, that is going to be a race that they're going to have to do damage control here.
Yeah, and just as we saw right now, there was, for anyone watching, a bit of teaching here right now for what you should do in the situation when you're on the straight behind the back marker. Don't pull out of the slipstream immediately on the start of the straight. Stay in the slipstream for as long as you can and take the slipstream pace with you to overtake the car. There was a slight bit of improvement that Adriel Bonfeur could have done here after this situation, staying in the slipstream off Terry Lau and just moving out a bit later than he did at this moment. So yeah, public service once again fulfilled earlier with the PayPal thing, and now again with teaching you a bit of racing basics. As we see, there's a BMW of G-Fox Foxington moving past this battle between Gary Slater and Daniel Castellana, who get to touch the fenders right now. That was a bit sketchy between the two, but it seems that it was just because Daniel Castellana had a worse entry into the corner due to the BMW hypercar being on the inside. We'll have to see whether Gary Slater can capitalize on that, maybe getting a better line here. The Lexus, how does it compare in top speed to the Lamborghini? We don't know. That it doesn't look like he's catching up very much or anything at all, to be quite honest. Just very slightly. Not enough to go for a move anyways right now.
Yeah, I mean, this slipstream is doing something, but I don't think it is quite enough to let the Lexus get much closer to the Lamborghini, as they are now heading into T1, T2, and we will see if Gary Slater will be able to do something. I mean, probably not in T3, and I'm guessing also not in T5. There is a bit too much of a gap between the two of them. So maybe if Gary Slater is able to stay close, but the gap is already half a second, close to 6/10. So Daniel Castellana might actually be able to just pull ahead of Gary Slater. Never mind, because Gary Slater was able to close the gap a little bit in turn 5. Yeah, that was turn 5. And so yeah, Gary Slater with the Lexus is just hanging in the slipstream of that Lamborghini right ahead. Yeah, we will see how the situation will evolve, but Daniel Castellana misses the apex there, as that will now allow Gary Slater to get close, as is that Ethan Young? That is Toyota Hypercar that is going to throw a bit of a wrench in the battle between these two GT3s, as Daniel Castellana will now be able to get a little bit of a gap that might actually close down again, because Daniel Castellana had to go around the outside wide to avoid Ethan Young, which means Gary Slater was able to close the gap again. And so we're back to square one.
We're back to square one. So for now, let's take a look at the mid-race results. We're currently halfway through the race, and we currently have Ethan de Jong leading the way ahead of Patrick Salvasi and Edwin Law. Tina Curtis, G-Fox Foxington, and Sasha Dechkov are the remaining still running hypercars on the lead lap, where Sasha Dechkov is currently a lap down on that. Then we continue with the GT3s of Alex Curto, who is leading ahead of Omet Om, Julian Metzner, and Tommy Leto. And we have Adriel Beaufort P5 for the GT3s. Daniel Castellano follows that very closely with Gary Slater. And then we have Tim Berggren, who is still running, but a couple of laps down. Linian Brown and Janice Seppa follow that up. Paul, Niklas Pavlik, Terry Lau, Kian Fry, and Zero Alexander are also still running.
That looks very, very nice. Healthy grid. Quite a lot of drivers still running. Sadly, we had some DNFs, but all in all, I could say this could have been worse. As we are now on Ethan de Jong, our overall leader, which doesn't really seem to be in any trouble at home. I mean, the other leader, Alex Curto, the GT3 leader, also doesn't seem to be in any trouble, being 4.5 seconds ahead of Matt Tom, which, I mean, to be fair, is a less serious situation compared to the Young's situation, but still, it is good enough for Alex Curto to, I wouldn't say driving relaxed, but I would say to not feel any stress.
A person who will feel stressed right now is Gary Slater, because Linian Brown is actually catching up to him, and now Gary Slater will not only have to keep up with Daniel Castellano if he wants to take that position back, but he will also have to defend from Linian Brown, who is right behind that in the Corvette.
You know, Linian Brown with the Corvette, I mean, you know that those big American engines, they're good at doing nothing, pull out a lot of power, but doesn't look like the Corvette is going to be able to do any good in the corners, as we saw Linian Brown actually going wide on the outside of turn 3, as now Gary Slater doesn't have to worry about the rearview mirror, only for what's ahead of them
Not
on the road.
Not immediately, but if those two start fighting again, well, Linian Brown is gonna be on them like butter on bread. Maybe this is going to make this a butter and jam spread sandwich. That makes the 3 ingredients, right? Yeah, nice. So Linian Brown, the jam, is coming to the butter sandwich. I don't know what I'm saying.
No, don't worry, it happens, as we are now seeing Tom Millett and Julian Mester fighting here for position, as probably that suspiciously Edwin-shaped hypercar might have had something to do with this battle actually reopening, as Tom Millett will have the inside for T1. Julian Mester needs to understand what to do here to defend turn 1, maybe go around your side, maybe try those which are contact. There is contact between the two Germans, two German cars touching each other, but Julian Mester was able to contact again. Julian Mester was able to gain the position, but these guys are still fighting, as luckily no contact here, but man, these two are still tuning it out.
Absolutely, they are not going to stop as long as they can battle for this. This is the battle for P3 in class, the last step off the podium. This is very important for both of them. And I will just have to say as well, it seems that there's another battle shaping up. Omet Ohm is just 2 seconds behind Alex Curtin now, whereas previously it was 4 seconds when we last looked at it. So it looks like Omet Ohm has found something to catch up right now to Alex Curto. For now, though, the closer battle is still between Julian Metzler and Tommy Leto for P3.
I mean, also, there is Mo Fan right behind them, as the Lamborghini GT3, despite having troubles earlier because of some traffic, seems to be getting closer and maybe have another shot here at this fight for P3. I mean, after all, there are still 18 minutes and 30 seconds left, so there is plenty of time for Bonfirm to actually catch these two up and get back in the battle for P3.
It looks like either Alex Curto is struggling right now, or Omet Ohm is really picking up the pace. Well, I don't know what's happening right now, but Omet Ohm is now just a second behind Alex Curto already, really catching up at the second, really trying to go for this P1 position, but we'll have to see. Losing a bit of pace here now again in this first sector, being 2/10 slower, and I mean, it's looking to be a battle shaping up here. Maybe Alex Curto was on a fuel-saving mission already, but now we'll have to see whether he might have saved enough for the virtual energy to last until the end of the race. Tommy Later, in the meanwhile, very close now to Julian Metzner.
Yeah, these two are very, very close. Also, when it came to Omet on, Omet did have a bit of a problem in 200R. We saw the car getting a little bit unsettled, but then he was able to catch up quite a lot, and now the gap is only 8 tenths, 7.5 tenths from Alex Curto. While these two, the gap is swinging between 4 tenths and 2 tenths, as yeah, the fight for P1 is on. The fight for P1 is on. Hold up, the GT3 class is going to provide us with a lot of great action, as Alex Curto was able to take this slipstream of a lapped Porsche, I don't remember which one is that, and trying to get something on Omet on, but Omet is really trying her best to stay close as... Oh, there is a dive! There is a dive from Omet on for P1 at turn 1. Wow, wow! That was clean! And... Ooh... Wait, okay, I don't know why Omet gave the position back, but it didn't seem like there was anything unlawful for me. But I mean, you know, the drivers can do whatever they want as long as he's clean, as these two are still fighting here this battle, as Omet around the outside of turn 5, but Alex Curto was able to keep the position defending on the inside. So yeah, two battles going on here, as it seems that, hold up, Tommy Little seems to have lost quite a lot of time from Julian Metzner. The gap is 8 tenths right now. Oh, that is why Tina Curtis...
We are currently in a lapping situation once again, so yeah. There will be quite a lot happening between these two. There are currently 3 battles in the GT3 class going on. We have here the battle for P6 between Daniel Castellano, Gareth Slater, and Linian Brown. The battle for P3 between Julian Metzner, Tommy Lato, and Adriel Bonfin, who is now also caught up to this. And of course the battle for the leads between Alex Curto and Omet Ohm, where Omet Ohm is once again on the rear of Alex Curto. Let's take a look whether they can make a move. Will it be close enough with the slipstream wise to get side by side by the end of the straight?
Yeah, yeah, I can guarantee you that Omet Om is close enough to actually try and send it at the end of the straight. Doesn't look like Alex Curtis is trying to go defensive, so maybe Alex is on a little bit on a fuel saving strategy, or maybe just doesn't care about fighting Omet Om right now, as Omet was just able to send it around the inside easily and overtaking Alex Curto, which however still sits in the slipstream, so we will see what will happen from now on.
Alex Curto wanted to go for the cutback there. We saw that. Unfortunately for him, it did not work out in this situation. All the better for Omet Ohm, who stays in P1 without a hitch right now. Gary Slater is getting ever closer to Daniel Castellano, feeling the pressure from Linian Brown behind, who is going to try and make up both of these positions as quickly as they can. We'll have to take a look how quick that can happen. Gary Slater, we know he is a very strong defensive driver. We know Daniel Castellana is a very quick driver, much experience in battling other cars as well. So, and Linian Brown seems to struggle around a bit in this first sector. Now getting lapped by G-Fox Foxington there, who is going to also lap the other 2 cars in this battle very soon. Tommy Later, in the meanwhile, is still on the rear of Julian Metzner. They have gapped Adriel Bonfin just a bit once again here. Adriel Bonfin looking to catch up to this battle. This is of course for P3 in class still, so bronze is better than nothing. It's infinitely better than nothing. That's why all of these 3 drivers are going to go at it to make up this position as well as they can. So we have these 2 battles right now, both of them on the start-finish straight. None of them look close enough to be to go for any moves at the end of the start-finish straight. And the battle between Ahmed Ohm and Alex Kurt seems to have fizzed out right now. Ahmed Ohm in this late stage of the race seemingly just having the better pace. 1.2 seconds ahead now of this race win challenge. Gary Slater, in the meanwhile, has been able to keep a safe distance from Linian Brown going into the first sector here of the next lap. We are 12 minutes away from the end of the race. There's still enough time for Linian Brown to catch up. Not like that, how is this? It's just unfortunate right now to be caught up by Patrick Etienne de Jong. Sorry, to be caught up by Etienne de Jong in this unfortunate situation. Last lap around being caught in the same spot by G-Fox Foxington. It's always better to get overtaken, of course, by a faster car when you are on the straight. Because if it's a hypercar trying to overtake a GT3, of course, the GT3 does not have to take a worse line or change anything about what they're doing on the straight. The hypercar is just going to whiz past. Oh, as there's a bit of an error here for... No. That was... Sorry, that was Daniel Castellana who had a bit of an error there, but it seems like Gary Slater was not able to gain any headway in that situation. Gary Slater still very much 7/10 behind Daniel Castellana in this battle for P6.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Gary Slater is able to close the gap quite enough to Daniel Castellana to be able to actually try and do something for getting in position. Wait, there is a GT3 that... Oh, Bonfirme! Where is Bonfirme? Bonfirme, I think, is in the pits. Yeah! Because I saw some changes there in positions. Adrian Bonfirme is now in the pits. I mean, is that a pit stop or a drive-through? It seems like a drive-through.
We don't know where the pit stop is.
Got a drive-through.
Might very well be the case for a drive-through, and this is pretty unfortunate for Adrian Bonfirme, not just because of his podium aspiration being gone now, but he's just in no man's land. 22 seconds behind Linian Brown and 30 seconds ahead of Yannis Seppa. There's no battling for Adrian Bonfirme until the end of the race, it looks like, at the moment.
Yeah, so it is very interesting to see that there is a massive development for this fight for P3, as now Tom Mileto doesn't seem like to be able to keep the gap from Julian Messner. The gap is now 1 second. So, yeah, the Finnish driver will really need to work hard in order to close the gap. But yeah, look at it. There is no slipstream at that range.
Not
there is
at that
a
range,
hypercar coming by. Yeah, look at that. That BMW is just gaining on the straight, gaining and gaining and gaining. Like, I feel like that unless something happens, the fight for P3 might, emphasis on might, Mike is doing a lot of heavy lifting, be over.
We'll have to see. I mean, the thing is as well, we talked with the drivers last time after the Interlagos race last week, of course. The stream is on our YouTube if you want to watch that back. And basically the drivers said that there was a bit of fuel saving, but it was definitely doable to do the full entire race without having to pit. Just basically full fuel from the start, full virtual energy, and then you will not have an issue. In the meantime, it seems like Alex Curto is catching up to Ahmed Ohm. Once again, 8 minutes left on the clock. And Alex Curto might go for another aspirational move into P1. Who knows? Maybe Ahmed Ohm has to fuel save now in order to make it until the end of the race. Maybe it was the same situation for Alex Curto earlier. Who knows?
It is entirely possible. However, I don't think that Ahmed Ohm is a person that will say, "Oh yes, please dive bomb me, no problem." Knowing Ahmed, that is 100% not going to be the case, as the Aston Martin is losing a little bit of time in that slipstream. It looks like the Lamborghini is faster in a straight line, and yeah, looks like the Aston Martin dropped out of this slipstream at one point. However, on the exit, it seems like Alex Curto was able to gain a little bit of time. And so close the gap, maybe fail this slipstream yet again.
I am going
As
to
the,
call it. I'm going to call it. That was sorry. That was lift and coasting there into the first braking zone by Omet Om.
Oh!
Who actually may have to. No, once. I mean, it would be reasonable to assume in some situations that letting another car pass and lift and coasting in the slipstream would have to be a strategy to make it until the end of the race. In this situation, maybe it was just an error there, a slight error, where that lets Alex Kerr to really catch up. Oh, that's now not the best line. Having the Toyota on the inside there. That is Ichun de Jong, of course. Why is it always, when we watch GT3s, that Ichun de Jong is the one lapping them at the moment? He just wants to be on stream more often, I guess. I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
The guy is leading the race right now, and has been leading the race since the beginning, completely uncontested. So it's only fair Ichun de Jong gets a bit of screen time. However, it looks like Omet Om is moving into the pits. Yeah, it was not enough virtual energy to finish the race, so Omet Om really has to pit now for a splash and dash perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Curto, we saw that Alex Curto did not defend from Omet Om, so he must.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that Alex Curto must have been like, oh, that's weird that Omet is not first saving. They must do it at some point in time, right? And
yeah.
I'm guessing that they could have been potentially surprised to see that Omet Om is diving in the pits because they did not lift and coast, they did not save any fuel. So, wow, that is...
Same situation with Jan
Yeah.
Seppa, by the way, also had to go into the fuel stop right now, into the pit stop right now, to refuel just a tiny bit. The problem is with Omet Om, we have Daniel Castellana and Gary Slater coming in, and Omet Om is just coming out right behind them. So it is actually going to be a three-way battle for P4 now, at least a three-way battle. A four-way battle if Linian Brown manages to catch up with the trio up ahead. But yeah, it looks like Omet Om will, in the best case, gain a P4 today.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, also as a reminder, those tires have probably cooled down quite a bit, so Omet Om is also on colder tires. I mean, to be fair, driver talent might play a role in not losing too much time despite the colder tires, but still, okay. Driver talent is playing a role in not losing a lot of time from the guys ahead. So Omet Om will be able to keep a bit of a gap with the guys ahead, my bad. Like Gary Slater, MOFM, however, cold tires can be a bit nasty from time to time. So, I don't know, Omet will probably show us some masterclass racing here at the end. But also, take it easy. Don't do anything rush because you're on cold tires. However, as I say that, she's getting the P5 here. Great exit is now chasing a Dragon Fam. Wow.
Daniel Castellana, but yes, as Gary Slater also has to take a pit stop. Alex Curto also had to. Tommy Later is also in the pits right now. Julian Metzner is now in the lead. It seems like everyone has to pit just a tiny bit here, just splash and dash, in order to make it until the end of the race. Alex Curto now right in front of Omet Om and battling with Daniel Castellana. Maybe Daniel Castellana was fuel saving this entire time and is now virtually on the battle with the lead, depending on whether Julian Metzner has enough virtual energy left to last 2 more laps.
I mean, we will see. Considering how far Julian Metzner was from the top 2, maybe Julian Metzner was deliberately going slower than they could, hanging out maybe with the other 2 guys, Buffon and Leto, and just in an attempt to fuel save a little bit. So this might be... I mean, if that is the case, that would be a major upset for this race, as these 2 guys are going to duke it out here with less than 3 minutes left. I'm getting the popcorns. I'm 100% getting the popcorns for this one because, oh boy, we're about to see absolute cinema. As there are also these two guys and all BMW battles still going on. I mean, I feel like it has been going on for the entire race, this battle.
No, this battle has not been going on actually. Janne Seppa, of course, we saw earlier, being in the pits, coming out of the pits, as Julian Metzner is now in the pits. So no one was able to escape the curse of the having to refuel just a tiny bit. So Julian Metzner is not going to win this race, as it certainly looks like now. There was another person entering the pits.
No, Castellana, my bad. Daniel Castellana in the pits.
Daniel Castellana as well. So it looks like now it's going to be the battle between Omet Om, who just went for the overtake ahead of Alex Curtis. There's 1 minute 50 left on the clock. It's going to be 2 more laps pretty exactly for the GT3 class. Whereas Ichun de Jong right now coming around, just finished a lap, is going to do 1 more lap after this. Wait. So depending on whether Ichun de Jong laps these two, they have to do
potentially 1 extra lap.
Yeah.
I mean, if that is the case, oh boy, I will need even more popcorns because we are about to see absolute cinema here as Ichun de Jong is about to lap Julian Messner now.
I don't think he's close enough to lap Omet Om and Alex Curto this time around. But I think he will lap them in the next lap. Alex Curto now moved back ahead, though. So depending on whether they will get lapped in the next lap, they might have to do an extra one. Oh my! We'll have to see whether they accounted for the possibility of having to do an extra lap or not. That's gonna be interesting. Yeah. Alex Curto is known to go very to the edge of the fuel tank, basically.
Oh, look at how wide they're going. I don't think that the Alex de Jong, Ichun de Jong, my bad, is going to be able to lap them, but
no, but
man,
next
that was
lap.
Very close.
Ichun de Jong is gonna start the last lap now, and in that lap, maybe not. We'll have to see.
As we are now seeing Alex Curto going defensive for the first time on Omet Om. So Alex Curto is going to have the line into T1 as the drivers do not touch, but man, that is a close battle. Omet Om needs to go wide, but now Omet Om will have the line into turn 3. So let's see now which driver is going to be able to come out on top. I'm expecting them to still be side by side as Alex Curto is able to do so. I mean, that is a very interesting racing line, but Alex Curto was able to stay ahead maybe, or maybe he's trying to give away. Oh, yeah, no, there is a very nice battle here in the last lap. Ichun de Jong is coming up on the two guys. I don't think that neither of them will say, hey, you can pass here. Ooh, yeah, Ichun de Jong had to go on the grass to avoid the two battling, but man, that is a nice fight.
So
Omet Om doing a little bit defensive. Alex Curto around the outside will probably try and switch it around, maybe, yes. That was the attempt, but now Omet Om will have the line here for the second derby, so Alex Curto will need to stay behind for this third sector.
But he's quite a lot away now, and it looks like Ichun de Jong, since he has lapped already, this is going to be the last lap for everyone behind Ichun de Jong, including Omet Om and Alex Curto, who, where it seems like Omet Om has got the upper hand right now. Ichun de Jong, however, very dominating today. Lovely to see him be on the top step of the podium once again. Master class by him. Omet Om is going to win the GT3 class, but there's still a battle going on as Linian Brown is just ahead of Gary Slater. Daniel Castellana is just behind them, so we'll have to see whether Gary Slater here in the last sector, last few corners, has anything left for Linian Brown. Oh my god, there's only 1 more corner left, 1 more overtaking opportunity, or perhaps the straight afterwards. Gary Slater is forced on the outside by Linian Brown, and they're side by side now. Who has the better exit? I mean, it should be Gary Slater.
However, the gap is increasing. Linian Brown was able to get a better exit from the last corner, which means the Corvette will be able to finish P6 with the Lexus right behind. But wait a second! Was that the Valkyrie pushing the Lamborghini? What happened there? Oh my, Daniel Castellano! What happened right there? For a second, I saw the Aston Martin pushing the Lamborghini all the way to the end.
Tim
What was
Berggren,
that?
Tim Berggren really coming clutch in the GT3 battle there. But it looks like Daniel Castellano finished behind Gary Slater and both Linny and Brown on the start-finish straight. So, while there was some helping there, it was too little, too late between everyone. And that means we have the results now. And the results for this race are... We go back. We have Etienne de Jong finishing the race 40 laps ahead of Patrick Salvasi and Tina Curtis, which is actually now the top three. It seems like Edwin Law had a bit of an issue, or Tina Curtis was better at fuel saving. Yeah. Tina Curtis, anyways, P3. Edwin Law, P4. G-Fox Foxington in P5. Sasha Dechkov in P6. Tim Berggren in P7. Last of the leading hypercars. Then we have the GT3s where Omed Om, after a long battle, was able to win the battle in her favor ahead of Alex Curto and Julian Metzner, who finally finished in the 10th position, 3rd position in the GT3 class.
Yeah, I mean...
And here we go, sorry. We have Tommy Later, of course, in P4 for the GT3 class, followed by Adriel Bonfin in P5, Linian Brown in P6, very closely followed by Gary Slater, Daniel Castellana as well, finishing in P8 then in the GT3 class, Terry Lau and John Seppa right behind that, and Paul Niklas Pavlik in P12, 11 in the class, followed by Kian Fry in P12. And then we have a bunch of cars that unfortunately did not finish the race. Zero Alexander did start, not finish. Rigor Mortis as well. Cosmo Marsh, Luna Liepo, and Chacha and Mr. Infinity did unfortunately not start the race. So, wow, that was truly an impressive race, I have to say. So,
yeah,
wow.
that was absolute cinema. Absolutely great.
Absolute cinema, fighting, battling all the way through. It is, of course, going to be all saved on YouTube afterwards, so you can rewatch everything. Also certain scenes, depending on what you want. And I will have to thank a lot of people right now, especially the Patreons, enabling us to rent the servers for this. And... of course, you guys, everyone watching. I will also thank you, Sebastiano Rossi, for being with me here today, for commentating this race together. And you're going to see us once again next week, where we are going to be going to... Where are we going?
I don't remember. Where are we going, actually? Yeah, that is a good question.
We are, of course, going to the Middle Eastern rounds.
Oh, right.
Which is going to be Bahrain. We're going to Bahrain, doing the WEC layout there for 60 minutes before we will go to the final round in 2 weeks' time at Le Mans for a 2 hour and 25 minutes race, which is also going to be solo between all of the drivers, of course. Driver swap currently being tested by the Le Mans Ultimate team, and we are looking forward to those following rounds. You can, of course, subscribe if you want to be informed about those live streams, which will also happen here, of course, and you can join our Discord server if you want to race with us. or just chat with any of the drivers here today. Maybe ask Ichun de Jong for a few tips on how to drive the hypercars in Le Mans Ultimate. In any case,
I mean,
once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the racetrack.